After that, it's holy.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
It's holy hooch.
Partake of the holy hooch.
So you realize this triptych back here also opens into a minibar.
It's too true.
It's an art history joke.
I mean, what did everyone have for lunch?
What did I?
Everyone's crazy
had
today.
Cod sandwich and salad.
I had
That
those
sounds good.
Foster Farm chicken strips that are pre-cooked, but I bought it last month. It's the first time I opened the package.
So it might have had some psilocybin on it or something.
Maybe, but it doesn't expire until next Wednesday.
Scott, what did you have for lunch?
I had a can of tuna mixed with mustard and sweet pickles, all chopped up in little pieces.
Very healthy.
Wait, no. Sweet pickles, Scott?
Uh-oh.
Sweet?
I love them. Fight me. Come at me.
The
I'm a-
grease of pickles.
I like all pickles. Okay, first of all. So it doesn't matter whether they're sweet. The only kind I don't like are those ones your grandma had that were like small and tasted like vinegar or whatever. Like some weird freaking offshoot thing. Whatever those were called. I don't know what they are.
Okay, let's leave our grandmothers out of this. Why are you eating sweet pickles?
I like
when you
sweet
could have dill pickles.
I'm the only one in the house who even remotely likes them. So there's two advantages. One, I like them genuinely. And two, there's always plenty here because I'm the only one that'll touch them.
All right.
So,
I mean, do they just look like regular dill pickles, or do they
look like pickles or dill pickles?
They're
And
just
they have a sweet smile.
inedible.
What's the one?
I
What
just
was
love
I
'em.
watching? I was watching the Food Network many years ago, and they went to this place that they had the pickle, but they added Kool-Aid or something, so it came out like bright red.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of weird pickles.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much, when I was a
Weird.
kid, I ate pickles of all kinds. As an adult, I will eat anything if you pickle it. I just love pickled everything. So pickled carrots are amazing if you have them right. Pickled onions are
Pickle
incredible.
fetish.
I agree with that.
Yeah, just pickle it all. Just
But
pickle.
sweet
Pickled
pickles.
liver, pickled egg.
Pickle me. All right. Scott, would you read line 3 today?
I will. Let me just pull up
I
that.
can't be
map.
trusted.
Let's try to
Get
get
us
through
out of
this
this
show.
pickle.
We'll get us right out of it. All right. Oh, another Johnson. Here we go. You counted
Yeah,
that.
that's kind of why I gave it to you. All right, here we go. 3, 2.
Raymond Johnson has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Be like Raymond. Everyone loves Raymond. Because a DTNS member or become one.
No. We got to start over
Do that
again.
again.
First of all,
Let's
you
start that
snorted
again.
like stupid Raymond.
Yeah.
I know you didn't mean.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 3, 2.
Raymond Johnson has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Be like Raymond. Become a DTNS member at patreon.com/DTNS.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. In Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
From all the way over here, over the mountains in Salt Lake City, I'm Scott Johnson.
And staying dry, I'm Roger Chang, the show's producer.
We are going to decide who has won the voice assistant war. Or maybe no one is going to win the voice assistant war. That's coming up in the show. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Twitter added the option to view your timeline in reverse chronological order, available on its Android app. The option showed up in Twitter's iOS app last month as well. The company switched to an algorithm-based ordering 4 years ago.
Still don't know how I feel about it. Unity updated its terms of service so that any third-party software, including Spatial OS, can be used in conjunction with its game engine. If you haven't heard of Unity, then you probably haven't played a lot of video games. Very, very common, very popular engine these days. Improbable, that's the company that makes Spatial OS, is a cloud-based server platform that helps developers build games with large and persistent worlds. Spatial OS isn't officially supported within the engine itself, so Unity doesn't deal with quality or compatibility, but developers can continue to use the platform for live and still in development games. And by the way, I've heard of this through a developer friend of mine. It is fantastic for just that, big open world games that need a lot of seamless, non-loading sort of space in them, and that's kind of what they're known for.
Our short niche nightmare is over.
Yep.
YouTube updated its content policy to consider some challenge videos harmful and dangerous and therefore banned on the site. No more blindfolding yourself while you drive your car and putting it on YouTube. The ban covers challenges that encourage acts that have an inherent risk of severe physical harm, as well as pranks that make victims believe they're in physical danger. Bad news for Japanese game shows. And pranks that cause emotional distress to children. YouTube moderators will decide which videos qualify for those definitions and pull them down. Channels have 2 months to remove any videos that were allowed before these new rules came into being and now run afoul of them.
Oh, I got to go check my channel, my thing, and make sure I don't hurt any old ladies.
All your Tide Pod videos got to go down, Scott.
They're kind of a mess. In a book from MIT Press called Fixing a Hole, The Labor Market for Bugs, data shows that that only the elite make money from bug bounty programs. The top 1% of bug hunters find an average of 0.87 bugs a month and earn roughly $34,000 a year. The book argues that making bug bounty programs invite-only reduces the cost of managing trivial non-issue and duplicate bugs while motivating the researchers that actually provide valuable reports.
Good one to have some feedback on if anybody reads this book and has an opinion on it. Feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Microsoft says it's going to separate Cortana from search in the Windows 10 taskbar, so you'll get a separate experience for text versus voice searches. The company also will hold a press event at Mobile World Congress, which takes place Sunday, February 24th at 5 p.m. Central
European
time, featuring Satya Nadella, Cloud VP Julia White, and technical fellow Alex Kipman. Kipman works closely with the HoloLens project, so the best guess for what announced. What do you think?
Could be
HoloLens. And it's mobile, because Microsoft ain't going to announce a phone. So, yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit more about a phone. Phone from the past that's coming back, Scott.
All right. Proof that time travel is possible, I guess. Maybe not. The Wall Street Journal reports its sources say Motorola. Yeah, that's right. Motorola will bring back the Razr phone. They're still owned by Google, right? Or they sell them off?
Lenovo owns them.
Oh, Lenovo. No. Okay, that's right. I forgot that happened. You guys remember the Razr, R-A-Z-R? Well, you may get it as early as February. That's next month. The new Razr would be a smartphone made available on Verizon in the U.S. Sources say Motorola plans to manufacture 200,000 units and sell them at a whopping price of $1,500 each.
What in the heck?
Sarah, do you not have any?
It's like the price of an iPhone.
Do you not have a lot of nostalgia for a Razr? Are you not excited about that?
I mean, I have some, but not for 1,500 bones.
Yeah, me neither.
This is okay. Let me walk through this slowly and see where it goes. It's a foldable, right? Foldables are hot. Samsung's going to have a foldable. Everybody's going to have foldables. So Motorola having a foldable makes perfect sense. The Razr was a classic phone. Prior to the iPhone, it was the hottest phone of its time. So, of course, if you're going to make a foldable and you're Motorola, you're going to put it under the Razr name. So far, so makes sense. $1,500, I could stretch to believe if they're going to make it a foldable that is meant to compete with the Galaxy and iPhone, and it's at the top end of even those phones, but it's up in that rarefied air. This thing's going to have huge amounts of storage and it's foldable and whatever. As soon as you make it only 200,000 units, though, which again, this is Wall Street Journal sources, this isn't the official announcement, but if that's what they do, that makes it feel just like a publicity stunt, doesn't it?
And it's a very small amount. Like 200,000 units is not very much in the pile that you would have for a normal sales year for any number of phones. And it makes it seem like a limited edition, expensive high-end thing. So if this actually gets announced, now I'm really curious, like, how are they going to market this? Are they going to really dig deep on, you remember your Razr? Well, now it's back and look how sexy it is now. Plus,
and you make so much more money now than you did back when you bought the original Razr.
I mean, they were pricey then, as I recall.
For the time they were, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Sarah, I want you to get a pink one, and then you can be, not because it's for girls, that's not what I meant.
Excuse you, Scott.
You always had the colors, right? And the pink ones are the hot ones. You get that hot pink, and then you tell us what you think. It's Sarah who's going to bite the bullet on this one.
All right. Who has $1,500?
Yeah, patrons, we need a new level.
Right. Speaking of phones, sources tell CNBC that Apple has had talks with 3 private Medicare plans about subsidizing its Apple Watch for people over 65 years of age to use as a health tracker. Currently, the older model watch is $279. The latest version of the device, which has new health features, including fall detection and electrocardiogram to measure the heart's rhythm, goes for $399.
This I think is fascinating, because if Apple were to get in on this, once you're in the store of providing insurance related devices, I'm not going to say it makes it easy to provide more, but it makes it easier because you have these business relationships. And if you are able to get insurance to pay for devices, you've got a money pit. And Apple has plenty of cash already. They need services revenue. This could be huge in bringing them services revenue, because they get the insurance companies to pay for these devices, and they get the feel-good story of people over 65 having access to Apple technology and telling all these stories about how it improved their life and possibly saved their life. And those people didn't have to pay a lot of money because it was covered by insurance.
Well, and Apple has gone all in on the PR. Health will be our, that will be our thing, right? Like, everyone will remember Apple as being the company that improved health for all humanity.
Yeah. I did something funny the other day that might be a good place to mention it. I decided, I was down on the floor looking for something, glasses or something fell behind the bed or something. And I thought, hey, I got my watch on. I remember them talking about the fall thing. I'm just going to lay here for a minute. I'm going to go down kind of hard. And I'm going to lay here and see if it does anything. And it didn't do anything for a really long time. And I thought, well, that's lame. What if I was dying? And then I remembered I have a Series 3. I don't have the 4.
That was going to be my question. I was like, do you have the most recent
How
one?
long were you down there?
I was probably
Sort of waiting.
10 minutes or something, which is plenty of time to die if you're, in a bad place. But
Sure.
I thought, man, this is what a rip. We're not. And then I went, oh, right. I'm using the old one.
You do have to use the watch with fall detection in it for the fall detection to work.
Right. In my head, I was thinking, oh, it's one of those features that just, got updated in the OS. No, it requires like hardware.
This is how, internet outrage happens, right? Yeah. If you'd been on there tweeting about it, that would have been the end of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Digiday reports that after the GDPR went into effect in Europe, the New York Times blocked all open exchange ad buying and behavioral targeting on European pages just to be safe. That left only directly sold, contextual, and geographically targeted ads. It's kind of similar to what DuckDuckGo says. They're like, we don't behaviorally target you. We don't track you. We just sell you contextual stuff based on your search and maybe target geographically. As a result of the New York Times doing this in Europe, revenue increased significantly from May into early 2019. Jean-Christophe Demarta, SVP for Global Advertising at New York Times International, told Digiday the desirability of a brand may be stronger than the targeting capabilities.
They probably need a little more time to say for sure that trend is a ever moving upward one. You know what I mean?
Well, and whether this applies to anything else, right? The New York Times has cachet. You may or may not like it, but lots of people rely on it, even internationally. The New York Times International is something that a lot of people are like, well, I want to see what the American perspective is. I'll read the New York Times. For good or ill, that's what happens. And so the New York Times is able to get advertisers like, yeah, I want to reach that audience. You got a big audience. You got a smart audience. They make money. I want to reach that audience. I don't care if I can't behaviorally target. I still want to spend money with you. Yeah. That may not work for everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to me
that
the revenue went up. So, this idea that, they have to behaviorally target you or they can't make money isn't necessarily 100% true. Certainly not in all cases.
Is it only true that you could make more money though? Well, okay, this is purely hypothetical, but
yeah.
If non-contextual ads work and make more money, isn't it only doing that in the face of what came before it, which was everybody feeling like their privacy was being bandied about kind of freely, and now they don't. So now they're a little more open than you almost needed the bad to happen before the good would show itself. If that makes sense.
Well, on the advertising side of things, it was merely a matter of necessity. Like, the law is in place. We're not going to do this. The advertisers understood. I wonder if the New York Times had done this voluntarily, whether the advertisers would have been a bit more resistant. It's one thing for the New York Times to come to the advertiser and say, I'm sorry, with this new law, this is the only way we can sell ads. And the advertiser go, oh, we totally understand that. We'll still buy, versus New York Times saying, we don't want to do this anymore because it's bad for our users. And the advertiser's pushing back on that. Now, the other side of it, though, is the question you asked about whether users actually care. And maybe that's part of it. And our next story that you've got here sheds some light on that.
Indeed. Pew, you may have heard of him, do lots of studies and surveys and stuff. Pew survey found 74% of U.S. Facebook users did not know the social network uses a list of interests and traits to target them with ads. I don't know why they didn't know that, but they didn't know that. 51% said they were uncomfortable with Facebook compiling this information, and 27% said the ad preference listing Facebook generated did not represent them very well or at all accurately. I don't know how you don't know that in 2019, but I guess.
And how you're like, you know what? If you're going to target me, you don't really know me. You're targeting me in the wrong ways.
Facebook. First of all, I didn't know you were tracking you. Now most of me doesn't like it. And a small part of me thinks that you've got it all wrong. 74%. I think this is important because we've often, in discussing Facebook, talked about, well, but a lot of people don't care. And maybe it's not that they don't care.
They just don't know.
They didn't even know. And I know that in our bubble of doing a tech news show every day, it's hard to imagine that somebody couldn't know this, right? Because the headlines are screaming at us every day. But if they don't read Tech Meme, and God forbid they don't listen to Daily Tech News Show, they might not know. And there's a lot of people out there that fall into those categories, sadly.
Yeah. My mom doesn't know.
She doesn't listen to the Daily Tech News Show?
No, she doesn't know that she's being targeted.
Please.
But she does. Here's the thing. She'll think it's magic, though, and she'll tell me. She'll say, my mom's 80, for the record, and she'll say things like, hey, isn't it weird that I was typing a thing to a friend and then that day an ad came up for that very thing?
What a coincidence.
Coincidental. She thought it was such a coincidence and so mind-blowing and like this magical moment on the internet. I didn't really have the heart to tell her that I did tell her. I said, Mom, you're being targeted.
74%.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore because you told her.
No. And I don't think she felt all that uncomfortable about it. She seemed to be like, oh, all right, well, that makes sense then, and sort of moved on. She didn't really seem to care that much. But yeah, I think that this shows that this idea that most of us don't care is maybe not the truth. The truth is maybe that some of us don't, but a lot of people just have no idea.
Yeah.
My mom is actually pretty savvy, but many friends that I have on Facebook. Yes, thank you. Hello, Linnell. Many friends that I have on Facebook will repeatedly ask me, because I'm sort of like the tech person, from the high school group. There's an ad, and I think they might have been like listening to my conversation, and there's so much weird stuff that goes on with people that like they understand that on Facebook there is targeting going on. They just don't understand how it works.
Yeah. Or that it works that well.
Exactly.
Like, well, I know it targets me, but this thing happened. Like, yeah, because they target you. Like that's the whole thing we're talking about. It's hard.
It's based on your behavior.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the quicker you know that, the more you understand how this all works.
I since we're all comparing moms, my mom doesn't use Facebook. She thinks it's creepy.
It kind of is.
Good on you, Mrs. Merritt.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
You may have seen the meme running around where people post a picture of themselves from 10 years ago and then a picture of themselves now. Kate O'Neill, founder of KP Insights, joked on Twitter in relation to this meme, as a lot of people were joking about it, that 10 years ago, Kate would have participated in the meme. Now, Kate suspects it's being used to train facial recognition algorithms on age progression and age recognition. So a lot of people responded to that. And on Wired, she wrote a column explaining that the tweet was flippant. She did not mean to warn people of the dangers of this meme. However, she decides to describe several use cases if someone were to make an algorithm based on this meme. She said the positive use would be something like finding missing people years after they were reported missing, particularly finding missing children. A lot of children go missing and they're gone long enough that it might be hard to tell what they look like. And you have to do age progression. An algorithm that was trained to do that might be very useful in that. It could also be used to better guess age and target appropriate advertising to you. She calls this kind of a mundane use. She's like, there's so much advertising targeting already. This would just be another way to do it when they were allowed to use facial recognition, if they were. But of course, like all tech, it could be used for ill. And she talks about, factoring into your insurance. If they looked at you and said, you should look younger than that based on this algorithm, maybe they give you a higher premium or something. So it's funny because this is a perfectly reasonable column from Kate O'Neill. And she points out, she's like, yeah, I was just joking about this meme, but it has taken off a little that people are saying, oh, if you participated in that meme, your data is going to be used against you.
I may have messed them up because I did a picture of my wife and I in 2009 sitting in a couch watching a movie. And then the other one was a 98-year-old couple that had been married for 72 years.
Well, and the algorithm, she actually acknowledges that in her column. She's like, the algorithm can account for a certain amount of false positives and especially look at like how late in the meme. The later in the meme that people post, the more likely they are to post jokey versions of it because they get tired of seeing everybody else do it. So
right, yeah. I mean, really, what they're saying is we may have just given a head start to people because there's nothing to say you couldn't go comb somebody's photos on Facebook or somewhere else and go, oh, this one from 2009, this one from now. Let's compare the two. That's all publicly available data. Yeah. It's just that this is a shortcut to that. This is here they are side by side. You don't have to go search around, computer man. Just have the two pictures and go for it. So hopefully there were more jokey ones, or hopefully I don't hear from my insurance company saying we need to have a talk.
Honestly, I mean, the insurance companies wanted to do this. They could do it anyway. There's all kinds of ways to train this stuff. Maybe this would have made it easier. Maybe if somebody will use it now because it's public. But this is not. This meme in particular is not something that is going to be used against you. It's not going to make the world a worse place. I think Kate O'Neill was doing a good thing with this column, though, saying, hey, but you should be thinking about those kind of questions when you share stuff. And maybe this meme wasn't a bad thing, but that next thing you share, make sure that you're comfortable sharing it. Mm-hmm. Folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. All right, we're going to finish up with a reaction to a column on techpinions.com from Bob O'Donnell. He's the president of Technalysis Research. Wrote a column yesterday asking, what if nobody wins the voice assistant war? And he notes the large number of products at CES that supported both Amazon and Google assistants. He noted that so many products are coming with voice assistants in them that it's possible folks will have a mix of them. If you buy a couple of new appliances and a couple of new gadgets, you might have some with Amazon, some with Google, some with both, but not all your gadgets can talk to each other. And he wondered if that would have a negative effect on uptake of these. If people get frustrated, like, I can't remember which one's Amazon, which one's Google. I'm just not going to use any of them anymore. And it's possible that it could dissuade people from even using this stuff. Also, I think there could be an upside to this, which is maybe it becomes standard to have multiple voice assistants on devices. Maybe we start seeing Siri. Maybe we start seeing Cortana. Maybe we start seeing that prediction, Scott Johnson, that you had in our prediction show in December of some kind of open platform.
Yeah, I was disappointed then that my prediction hadn't come true within a year's time, that we would be well into some open platform and in full adoption mode. But this actually reminded me that it may not be a year timeline, but I still think that's maybe where stuff's headed. We're going to have to get to a place where either somebody has to be such a clear winner and open about their standards so that everybody can participate in it, or it's going to have to be an open standard that by default everybody can participate in. Otherwise, it doesn't go anywhere but within the walls of the company who makes it. So, Cortana could, in theory, be that, and Microsoft seems super willing to have it be integrated across all sorts of things, but it's just not being adopted that way. People don't like it that much, and people don't like Siri very much, and people like okay Google fine, but then there's things it does poopy. Like, they've all got their weaknesses and their strengths, and nobody's come up with anything that just sort of works everywhere. And so I still stick with my prediction that one day that will happen. It will come out of necessity, and it will become so ubiquitous and big that everyone will just have to support it, because it'll be too big. It's like the internet. They can't make their own internet. They got to use the same internet as everybody else now. So it'll be like that. Everyone's got to use it. That's how we communicate via voice. That's how our assistants work. Boom.
But okay. The idea of what if nobody wins the voice assistant war? Well, I would say Amazon's voice assistant is probably in the lead at this point. Yes, Google's assistant is neck and neck, but I don't quite understand what the argument is of like, well, is anyone even going to win this? Well, I don't know. You use what you use.
But if you have multiple devices with different voice assistants on them, then suddenly you either have to remember which device
Is
controlled by which
remembering
assistant.
that so hard?
Yeah.
I mean, I do that.
For some people it is, Sarah.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people want to try to remember, wait, is my toilet Google or Amazon? Right? They're just not going to use it.
I don't have a smart toilet.
Not yet anyway. But I mean,
That's your deal, Tom.
I think I agree with that to some degree. Like, I don't really have a problem with that now, but if this stuff just becomes more and more integrated, I mean, who am I kidding? I would much rather just say, like, okay, Apple Music is now a service I can have on my Amazon Echo, which is great. Stoked about that. Plays my playlist. I love it. It's good. That was already a service I paid for. Hey, now it's in the house on my Echoes. But I still have this weird new disconnect where I used to be able to use Siri as a voice control to do what I want with my music. I can now do that same thing with the A word, but she doesn't necessarily recognize the exact same language. So you say it maybe in a different way, or I have to talk to her first, then talk to the other thing. Like, it starts to get a little bit like we've got digital assistants who are running between hallways to help communicate with other people who talk in different ways. And I just would like it if the whole thing had a big fat standard. Think of it as HTML, but for voice. Like, I don't know what that is. I mean, that's not a great comparison because it's a
right. The voice assistant landscape reminds me the most of instant messaging back in the 2000s, right? And you had your AOL Instant Messenger, and you had your Microsoft, your MSN Messenger, and you had your Google one come along later on.
MSN Messenger.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah, right?
Bring me back.
ICQ, and eventually somebody decided, oh, well, I'm going to make a client that pulls them all in together. And then there were battles where some of the messengers didn't want clients to do that, and then they tried to block your clients that were multiple IMs from being able to access their IMs. I feel like the voice assistant landscape is shaping up to be like that. And the sad thing is we never actually got to a standard for instant messaging. It just kind of got replaced by SMS. And that solved that problem. And maybe there'll be the version, the equivalent of SMS for voice assistants at some point. But yeah, we need, as Beatmaster puts it, we need 1 trillion for voice assistants.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my gosh, that's a great way to put it. I mean, it feels crazy though, right? Like we would ever get to something like that. I don't think it's that crazy.
Because if my TV has Bixby, because it's a Samsung, and I bought an Amazon Echo, but then I buy some device, I don't know, maybe it's a microwave or a toaster or something that has Google Assistant in it. Well, most people aren't going to want to bother. They're just going to not use one of those. It's not that it's hard. It's like, I don't remember. What do I say for the Samsung? I mean, it's hard.
Maybe the companies just have to be like, just say, hey.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do that,
and then whatever works, we'll just engage at that point.
That makes
Yeah,
my phone like a digital assistant. Yeah.
Maybe that would be the way, is if there's some amount of interoperability amongst these things to where you could decide which one's going to control the others, which is, like Scott said, that's what Cortana is doing. They're saying, hey, we'll operate with whoever. But even then you have to remember, like, tell Cortana to blah, blah, blah. And that takes the natural language part about it, which is already a barrier for some people using these. Are like, I don't remember how to turn off the lights. What are they called? Is it dining room or just dining? Or, like that happens in our household.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say Google Assistant to me is consistently the smartest one.
Mm.
It's very result smart.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm asking for a thing, I get what I asked for, or as close to it as I get. The others all, to some level or another, don't quite
bungle it a little bit. Yeah.
Kind of mess it up. I just think we can get there. I don't know how it is we get there, but we got to get to a place where it's just not so. Everybody wants to. Right now, they're being used as tools to keep you in their ecosystem. It'd be nice when they stop doing that.
The test will be when I could just go, hey, turn on the lights. You know which lights I mean.
Hey, you.
That's what you do. You just have to say that at the end.
You know me. You're smart.
You know what lights I mean.
Figure it out, machine intelligence.
Yeah.
You know who else is smart is everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on others at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
And we love getting your emails.
We do. Kevin in Augusta, Georgia, wrote in and said, wanted to talk about the health scanner camera that you mentioned in your CES coverage. One of the things that you mentioned it could identify was Angelman's syndrome. This piqued my interest because I have a nephew with Angelman's. It's a developmental disease which one of the proteins in which one of the proteins in your genes doesn't turn on. It affects motor control, speech, emotional responses, sleeping, and the like. When I was younger, my twin brother developed like normal, but I developed like normal, but he did not.
Yeah.
He didn't talk. He didn't walk. He should have. He always had trouble sleeping. His parents knew something was going on, but he had to be tested to be properly diagnosed. One of those tests was an MRI. Needless to say, an MRI on a 2-year-old is not very pleasant. If somebody has developed camera software that can diagnose conditions just by looking at your face, that could prove very useful by getting somebody diagnosed early in life. Could mean treatments and therapies start much earlier than normal and would be less taxing on the child and, of course, the parents. Shout out to the Foundation for Angelman Syndrome Therapeutics, or FAST, who are working on a cure for the disease.
cureangelman.org. Thank you for that email, Kevin, and for sharing that story.
Absolutely.
I don't think this technology could stop an MRI from being needed. Unfortunately, it's a diagnostic assistance, but I think you got to the most important point is it could diagnose things earlier, which would make a lot of other things easier because the earlier you can get a diagnosis, the, as you put it, less taxing on the child it could be. So that's important.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Scott Johnson, for joining us as always. What do you got going on these days?
Well, let me tell you, Tom, I'm actually going to talk about a thing that I'm super stoked about because it's already something that exists for DTNS listeners if they just knew where to look for it. And that is the monthly video game briefing with myself and Patrick Beja. Patrick Beja, of course, here on Tuesdays. And so you know him, I already love him. And he and I are big video game nuts. So together, once a month, we get together, we make a video game show for the rest of us, meaning people who maybe aren't hardcore gamers, but like to dabble here and there, want to know what's going on in the news around the industry and kind of what to buy every year for Christmas, that sort of thing. So you can check it out right now. There's a bunch of links. You can subscribe to it on the dailytechnewsshow.com website, or you can head on over to frogpants.com/MVGB and you'll find the links there as well. And for all the other stuff I have going on right there at frogpants.com. And I'm on Twitter at Scott Johnson.
Don't forget, folks, if you stay with us at your tier on Patreon for 3 months and you're at one of our top tiers, you can get some free stuff from Len Peralta. Merchandise with Len Peralta's 5-year anniversary art on it, available to advisors as a poster or master level folks as a mug. Go check it out at patreon.com/DTNS/merch.
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Keep the feedback coming. We love it. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Good show.
Good show. Thanks for picking up the thank you, Tom. It was spreadsheet issues.
Gotcha. No, I can tell.
I was like, well, why are we pausing?
I almost picked it up because my brain hurts.
My brain hurts.
My brain hurts.
My brain.
Speaking of my brain, we got any titles that make your brain hurts? Facebook tracking me? I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
It's pretty good.
Facebook is creepy. Everyone loves Raymond, although that didn't make it into the final recording. Voice Assistant Wars.
Razor sharp prices.
Razor sharp prices. Yeah, emphasis on the prices.
I kind of like voice assistant words. It
Yeah,
feels
That's pretty good.
broad, right?
VAW, VAW, VAW.
It's voice assistant wars. I don't know if I understand this new voice assistant wars movie.
Had really good special effects.
You kids really do love your voice assistant wars. All right, it's in the blog for you, and Roger, the full recording is uploaded.
So I got a text back.
Oh yeah,
It appears this is an onboarding meeting with a sponsor, and they will not be here in the next 2 weeks. So I think I have to bow out of the bonus.
all right, no, that's fair enough.
I didn't know about it, or I would have done this differently, although it may have been a problem either way because now they have to leave town. But how about, Roger, you put me down for whenever the next rest of them are from here on out for the rest of time, and I'll just make sure I'm there.
Okay,
Got it.
I just didn't know about this one today, or I would have worked around it. And I don't have to leave just yet. It's not till probably another, let's see, was it 3? So I got another 45 minutes or so.
warms my heart. Everybody in the Discord right now is sharing their ICQ numbers.
Aw. They still have them? Jeez.
I don't remember mine.
I'm going to look. Let's see here.
Began with a 1. That's all I remember.
ICQ. I don't think I have any.
Yeah, I don't.
Where would I have kept that? Something like that. Maybe an email.
I don't think I ever had one.
No,
Never
you
used
must
ICQ.
have. Really?
I don't know. I was AOL Instant Messenger for life.
Oh my gosh, I found it from 2005. I found
Look at
it. Yeah, I have this big long number and a AIM account. Wow.
AIM.
that. I was Ace Detect on
Well,
everything.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't actually use AIM until I had to work at CNET because everyone in the office used AIM for some reason.
Didn't they
Roger,
have
that's
Messenger?
crazy. We all used AIM at Tech TV.
I didn't.
I think you did.
No, I didn't. I
Really?
used.
How did you chat?
No,
with the
what was
rest of us?
what was the Microsoft one?
MSN Messenger.
Yeah, that's.
You
Nobody
refuse
used
to use
that.
AIM?
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't surprise me. No wonder I can get a hold of you.
I was literally 12 feet away from you. It's like, heaven forbid someone exercise by
That
standing
12
up.
feet I would have had to walk.
That's why messenger services are the best. You don't have to like go up and whisper to somebody.
I just put
I used
sugary foods,
what are you
carbohydrates, and instant messengers for making Americans fat.
I used one that combined them all. So whoever was on MSN or AIM, they were all in the same interface.
Trillion. It was Trillion.
Trillion, but they used another one, and I can't remember if I
Pigeon?
used it later or earlier.
I used pigeon.
Pigeon. That was the one I used. I used
Catch
Pigeon.
the pigeon. Catch the pigeon.
Wait, why did you use Pigeon if you only used MSN Messenger?
I used also used Google Chat.
Okay.
Came later.
Yeah, but that wasn't. All right.
I can't believe we
Fine.
used to be okay with these ICQ numbers. This thing's longer than a phone number. It's like
Right.
But that number's
Have you
unique to
committed it
you.
to memory again?
I know, and the only way you could share it is you had to give it to your friend in some other way and say, "Here's a giant number for you to take and enter somewhere."
Hey, just remember when you used to text someone, you only had 9 buttons to work with.
It's bad, man. ICQ was bad. Well, I mean, whatever. It was a step. It was a small step towards something different, but I don't miss it, really, to be honest. I did see Winamp is coming back. Did you guys see that? You probably talked about.
I still
We
use
talked
it.
about that.
I mean, where'd it go?
Let's see. Where's that news?
Don't
thing?
call it a comeback. Is that what you're saying? Adium. Oh,
Yeah.
JPEG. I used Adium.
Still
too.
kicking it.
Oh, Adium. I had Adium on the Mac, early Mac stuff.
Oh yeah,
mean, I use
Adium. That's right.
I don't have it.
Oh man, I haven't heard about Adium in a long time.
Oh, this is back in October. Winamp 5.8 officially released and supports Windows 10 as of October. I'm
Yeah.
way
Still kicking the llama.
I-
Oh, look at
Llama.
Adium.
Oh,
I even
llama.
remember that little duck. Wow, that's so funny.
I am using
completely
Winamp
forgot about this.
2.78.
Is there such a thing still? You can still use Adium?
Yeah, you could use it on OS 10.
The latest release was offered in 2017. So
pretty
it seems
good.
to be a bit.
I mean, I'm still an El Capitan, but
Oh my gosh, look at that old website though. Jeez Louises. Wow. All right.
does it work? Don't fix it.
Oh, look, I have Russ Pitts's ICQ number in my Yahoo mail.
Oh,
Looking to see if I
yeah.
can find mine.
In your Yahoo Mail, stop while you're ahead.
I still have Yahoo Mail. That's how we get access to Flickr.
I did RC this way as well.
Actually, you know what? I have Yahoo Mail for the exact same reason. So I don't log in.
I still have Hotmail for my Xbox Live account.
I still can't get it.
Isn't it Microsoft now? Isn't there
Yeah,
no
but
more
it-
Hotmail?
I go to hotmail.com and it just goes straight to the Outlook. Busy, what's it?
Wait, why don't you just go to outlook.com then?
Because my fingers know it as hotmail.com.
Let's see, where did that go?
You know
Yeah.
what?
Nerf, I have not retrained
You
my
do
nerf
you,
muscle.
Roger.
I have not retrained my
Fair enough.
You know what? I am embarrassed to say I didn't even know they did this. I didn't know there was an Outlook.com. I had no idea. Shows what I know.
There's no shame. There's
I
no
don't.
shame.
I just never use it. I never have really. I had an old Xbox Live thing with it, but that was it.
You don't use Xbox Live at all?
Not now. I don't have an Xbox that's active.
I have two that I bounce the account between.
I didn't get a one, so I just canceled it, and it was a nightmare to cancel. And by the way, if you ever have like some special Tom on like why Instagram's starting to suck, I'd like to throw in a little bit on that.
Oh, yeah.
Because 2 months now, they still can't get me logged into my freaking account, and they are the worst people I've ever dealt with for like, recovery or keeping in touch. They would reply with like, we don't see any record of this. I'm like, there's a 9-mile email back and forth with me and somebody there. What do you mean you don't have any record of this?
This is Instagram?
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, it says Facebook, so maybe it's Facebook.
Right.
And
But the
this was
problem
not
is
a
They're
I
so focused
just-
on fraud prevention that they get weird about helping people recover their actual legit lost account.
I think you're right. And so because of
but there was no reset your passcode type thing.
no, that's all good. It's just that they run that through a mandatory 2-factor, which sends something to your text, but it's not sending. So everyone else I have 2-factor in text with, no problem. Comes right through, 0 issues, multiple phone numbers. It doesn't matter. These guys, it will not send to me no matter what, and they can't seem to get that. They can't seem to figure it out. It's like, guys, I can't approve the code until I get the 2-factor. And your 2-factor is not working, not with me, and you have the right number. So what are you doing over there?
Indeed. What are
So
they?
frustrating.
I'm so annoyed. I hit 10 grand. I hit
10 grand. Wow.
Whoa.
I finally hit 10,000 followers. And I thought, oh, okay, cool. And that was right around the time I got the new phone. And then I had to log in again. And then this started. And I haven't had access since like the end of November, early December. It's so dumb.
That's awful. Yeah.
To Instagram?
Yes.
Wow.
How
That's
dumb is that?
crazy. I'd be mad too.
I am mad. A bunch of my artist friends are leaving it. They don't like the platform. Their stuff gets de-emphasized with the new algorithm changes, and they hate it. So they're like,
What are they doing? Are they going anywhere else or?
they're going to Twitter, and they may have already been there, but they're just not going to use it as a place to showcase their art the way they used to, because it's just same kind of issues. So when this happened to me, I just started poking around, and people were like, oh
That's
yeah,
how you know real desperation. I'm going to Twitter.
yeah, exactly. In their mind, at least Twitter lets people order and the way they want, even though they kind of have to jump through hoops to do it. Social media, dude, rubs my
I
cheese,
know.
drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I'll just rub my eyes now. I feel better. I'm good. Anyway, yeah. So Instagram, if you're listening, and you're not, but if you were, what the crap? What the actual?
So,
H?
What
I
the
was-
actual C?
Yeah.
In looking for my ICQ number, I ended up finding like, okay, what's my oldest email in my Yahoo email account? The oldest one I could find for the moment is from August 5th, 2002, which is a forwarded goodbye message from Greg Drebin, who was the executive producer of Tech TV.
Wow.
I remember him.
Old time school. Old time school. I was watching.
I don't know why I would have forwarded this goodbye letter to my Yahoo account.
Maybe you thought that does it have his contact information?
It does, yeah.
You thought, oh, maybe I might work with him in the near or distant future.
Maybe.
What's Greg Drebin up to these days?
No.
I don't either.
Let's find out.
Let's find out. Yeah.
Wasn't he working at Fuse or something?
I don't know.
Greg Drebin,
lost
up
track.
EVP of Worldwide Marketing at 20th Century Fox, reported
Worldwide
in February of 2018.
Well, good for you, Greg.
And the picture they show looks like it's from 2002. He hasn't aged a day.
First time I ever talked to Greg Drebin, he was like, "Don't let that go up on chat again." It's like, okay.
I got a really nice note from him one night. I was staying late after Screensavers, doing some web stuff, and he just emailed me like, hey, I see all the hard work you're putting in. Keep it up, sort of.
Oh,
That's nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
So if anything happens to you, just know that it wasn't me.
Right. When you go missing, they'll see this email and know that I didn't kill you.
It'll defer suspicion from me. Please do not delete this email.
I think I gave him a pair of jumper cables because he had a hard time starting his car one time.
You think you did or you did?
I know I lent it to a bunch of people.
Question is, did he give them back?
Seems like something
yeah.
you remember.
Well, I lent my jumper cables to a bunch of people. A lot of people, I guess, left their headlights on when they parked at the top.
Well, back in the day before, headlights went on automatically, when I had my first Honda Civic, I left them on all the time because it would be foggy in the morning, and you needed them to, do whatever. And then I'd forget to turn them off, and my battery would be dead. And it was a stick shift. So, you go down the hill and you pull the clutch and that's a whole thing. But it's very, that's not
very
a fun
tricky
thing to do. Yeah, you got to find a hill, and maybe have somebody push a little bit.
First.
Used to be a big part of my life. Getting that bad. And then you have to drive around for a while because if you don't drive around long enough, then your battery just dies again.
I have a folder on Yahoo Mail called Plurk.
Oh, Plurk.
Oh, Plurk. Wow.
Good old Plurk. Well, thanks. Speaking of Plurk, thanks everybody who followed us on Plurk back in the day. And also thanks to everybody watching the video version of this show. We hope you have a lovely time. Audio folks, stick around. There's more to come.